I am 2 minutes late, right? But I just started the stream, but on YouTube by mistake. So I am 2 minutes late, but not really. I was officially on time. Hi, you're with Scott. This is Mental Health Monday. It's midnight. It's always midnight. It's actually Monday at 20:02. Ooh, it's like a palindrome. Crazy. 20:02, 8 p.m. GMT. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear. This is your left ear. That's mono. Crisis averted. But I'm just going to quickly open up my YouTube on a different window that we can't look at, can't see, because I'm going to go into Creator Studio. I'm going in the Creator Studio. I'm going to just have a little look at my content. I'm just going to have a little look at my lives and see that I didn't just stream for like 2 minutes for nothing. No, it's not even that. It didn't even connect. YouTube didn't even have it. It was like not even having it. All right, let's pop out your chat then. Let's pop you out. I did notice on the last YouTube stream, I don't know if it's saved the chat. Maybe it's a setting I have to change or something. I thought the chat would always just come up underneath it, but I might change the settings. And today we will be using chat on screen. You will be immortalized forever. There you are on the screen now in a slightly opaque box. That's you there. You're on the screen in a slightly opaque box. So if ever I'm talking to chats, if ever I'm talking to them, if ever I'm talking to you, not just them, you. Not just them, but you. If ever I'm doing that, then the people at home can go, oh look, that's what it says. Lacking on today's YouTube broadcast. What a shame. What a shitter. It's alright, isn't it? It's not a bad thing. On Ganji Kid, I'm a YouTube streamer as well as a Twitch streamer now. Been YouTube streaming in the daytimes at 2 p.m. GMT. And our YouTube content's a bit different from our Twitch content. Our Twitch content at the moment, Mental Health Monday, regular, Mondays 8 p.m. GMT. And the evenings, when I can, I'm playing some Genshin Impact. Yay! So that's been uploaded to the YouTube Stream VOD archive, which is the YouTube channel, Ganji Kid. But also, I've been using it to actually stream on. So in the daytimes at 2 p.m. GMT, I've been running some stuff. It's been all sorts of chuff. We've done competitive eating. We've done marching bands. We've done the biggest grossing films of all time. It's just an eclectic mix of different stuff. You know, chatting, just chatting, that sort of stuff. Little episodic hour, 2 hours of chatting about stuff. And then we got into these like weird conspiracy theories that were going around. These Febs and Star Thoughts. Bit of debunking. Not heavy debunking. I'm not a heavy debunker. I'm not a physicist. And then they had their own Johnny and Amber moment. So we've been talking about Martin and Jade. That's Johnny and Amber, essentially, to you and me. They've had their own Johnny and Amber moment. So that's took off a bit. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, we've hit that 10x. I've gone from 80, 10, 20, 40, 80 views on a video. 10, 20, 40, 80 views on a stream. You can see these older ones. Some of these have not got any views. Even if they get viewed on, it's a bit of an issue with all the conspiracies. Oh God, snips. I feel a bit more chilled on Twitch today, because YouTube is YouTube and this is Twitch. I'm not compelled to make a thumbnail for this today. I can do it later. And when I come here tonight, I didn't expect to have all the, I hope, you're here. I feel a lot more calm now. We have to just bear with it in that chat. I think what you've got to make sure to do is to not get dragged in with them, and don't get dragged into an argument with them. Maybe David can do that a little bit because he's got some proper knowledge on some of these construction things. But really, it's not, we're not a debunking channel, are we? And we don't want them to get all cross and having a row. The main thing is to try and win them over with our generosity and kindness, to at least think that this is a nice place to be. And then maybe they'd spend less time worried about those rubbish conspiracy theories and more time having a nice time. And I don't know, it might all pay off in the end. Certainly I'm not trying to harvest up their audience, because some of them are a bit mean, aren't they? Some of them tell me what I was considering, and you know what I'm really considering now? I'm considering getting myself a proper cardigan. Do you have cardigans in America? Do you have cardigans? Do you have cardigans like? Do you know what a cardigan is? A cardi. You must have a cardigan in America. Do you have cardigans? I don't know. Do you have cardigans? Big face moment, this is, isn't it? Big face. Get the chat on the big face as well, you idiot. There you go. Do you have cardigans? It's like a little knitted jacket for old people. I'm going to get myself age-appropriate clothing. I'm going to get myself some... I might get a pipe and some slippers. You won't be able to see my slippers, but I'll get a pipe. I have to get a pipe. What other things is appropriate for me now? I'm not allowed to wear my basketball t-shirt anymore that I picked up when I was on tour in America. It doesn't fit me properly anymore. It shrunk a bit in the wash or whatever, but this I picked up when I was in America, so it's like a little souvenir to me. I like it. But it turns out, and they've made me think, they've made me realise something, right? They've made me realise that I don't dress for stream. I watch a lot of Asmongold, and he doesn't dress for stream. Like, we're just who we are, and we come on stream. Yeah, that's good because it's authentic. But also, I do realise, I talk about it all the time, creating a media product, trying to create something good media-wise as well. There's a balance in me being a bit of a rough edge fuck-up and me having high aspirations. And if I was filming someone else, I wouldn't let them come on camera like this. I've got a spot here now because of all that white face paint I put on the other day. I'd be like, do your hair, brush your hair. Are you wearing that cap? Do you know what I mean? But for me, because I'm a behind the camera person more often than not, I'm me, I've come on camera. But I do realise that actually I could make more of an effort. Maybe I'm not doing the stream and you and everyone else the good. If we're going out to a chat, if we're going to go and have a chat out, if we're going for dinner or something, I wouldn't dress like this. I wore that gravekeeper coat for weeks. I wouldn't wear that out of the house. So maybe I should dress more smart. Like when I used to do the hairdressing, I used to dress like the boss. Smart black, usually black. Told you about that, standing behind the client, so it makes a good frame and you can see their hair and it's about them. Smart clothing. I could do that. I could easily do that. It's all in my wardrobe. The only reason not to is I'd have to start ironing again. And in my new life, as a person who doesn't give a shit, I didn't have to iron anything. Except for a special occasion. Now I'd have to start ironing the shirts again. But yeah, maybe I should just do that. And then they can't moan. And it might be nice for stream. Might be nice. But also, this is the authentic me. So they might then complain, oh, you just dress up for your streams. You just dress up for them. You don't wear that suit all the time, do you? Hey, doctor, you don't always have that stethoscope around your neck, do you? Like, why are you dressed like that for streams? I'll be like, oh, shish, I can't win. So, I don't know. For me, it's easier just to get up and just grab some of the clothes that are clean and just put them on. And then that's me. I don't have to wear a suit or decide on which shirt goes with which tie or any of that. It's just usually a t-shirt in the summer, t-shirt and a hoodie in the winter. I like the jazzy hoodies because they're a bit of fun. I used to wear band clothing mainly because of bands, rock bands, Rage Against the Machine, Metallica or whatever. And then after that was a bit more street in a way, just the sort of standard streetwear of the normal person in the UK. Maybe an Adidas jacket, maybe a pair of jeans and some trainers, just normal clothes. Just normal clothes like normal people wear. I'm not dressing up to go to the club. I'm just coming on stream for Mental Health Monday. So that's what's been going on. That's our little chuff. I always do a lot of chuff. But this is good chuff because it leads into this, right? So we're not going to always be a Tartaria drama stream. I don't know what's coming next. Tartaria just sort of, we just slipped into it, didn't we? Like falling into a puddle. Slipped into it. I don't know what's coming next. I know what's coming tonight, though, on Mental Health Monday. And I should have done that straight away at the very start, but I'm a chuffer and I've been chuffing for 10 minutes. But it's going to blow your mind. It's all related. Look, what's this? Oh, conspiracy theories are a mental health crisis. Now, wait a minute. I'm not having a dig at any of these people, right? I'm not having a dig at any of the people, and they're like, oh, if they've found our stream because of a conspiracy theory thing. Some of them believe some of the conspiracy theories. This is not me saying, oh, you're mental. That's not that, right? But what I thought we could do, I hope this is going to come across well. I'm more approachable in what I'm wearing. If I wore a suit, it might turn off young people. Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I don't want to dress up like the cool teacher. I don't care if my trousers come up to here. If it's time for if it's time for my waistline to go from around my hips to up to the nips. If it's time for the waistline to rise from hips to nips, I'm ready for it. Fuck it, bring it on. But actually, I'm not that old. And it's a new world, isn't it? It's a new world. My dad's got cooler trainers than me. So what are you going to say about that? My dad's got cooler trainers than me. He's not allowed them, of course, because he's older than me, but he's got them. What are you going to say about that? Maybe we should start, deciding what people should wear a bit more around here, shouldn't we? Maybe we should be a bit more critical about what people should wear more around here. Before you know it, you'll have men wearing dresses, won't you? Before you know it, you'll have people wearing not just age inappropriate clothing, but gender inappropriate clothing. And then where would we be? Then I wouldn't be able to... I hope people understand that's a joke. I hope people understand that I feel like it's okay. I've worn a few dresses myself. So there we go. But listen. Conspiracy. I'm just going to wear what I wear. I'm not going to make a big thing of it. I might smarten up. I really want to do it as a joke, though. I really want to go full on, dress up like as... Maybe it would still be age inappropriate. I don't know what I'm supposed to dress like. They just told me what I'm not supposed to dress like, but I just want to go full on for it. But anyway, conspiracy theories of mental health crisis. Streaming for 3 hours in a suit. Yeah, exactly. And this is another good point. I don't want to. I've already done 3 hours today, so I wanted to keep this reasonably concise tonight. But we're already. I don't mind chatting. I'm having a good time chatting. A dress would be more comfortable. It'd be more airy. I'd have to get a fan down underneath the desk. People can't tell I'm not wearing a dress underneath, can they? You don't know what I'm wearing down here. Could be wearing anything. I could have 2 different coloured socks on. I don't. The socks match, but I could have 2 different coloured different socks on. And then where would we be? Then we'd be living in a world where people just wore whatever kind of socks they wanted. And, that's just not acceptable to some people. But anyway, look, conspiracy theories of mental health crisis. I want to make this clear. I'm not having a dig at the people that believe the conspiracy theories. And I'm not trying to say, oh, look, you've come to my channel and now, you're calling me a mental. That's not what it is. What I'm saying is that I thought a lot of people that are coming to the channel knew from this conspiracy angle, yeah? We do Mental Health Monday every week. And I've said it before that I think sometimes these rabbit holes, this is just my opinion now, this is just me and conjecture, but I think thinking about these rabbit holes all the time, going on another YouTube video, hours and hours, and end up talking to people about it in the pub and they don't want to hear it because they think it's mad. And you fall out with so-and-so because they think that you've got strange ideas about the vaccine or the this or the that. And then you haven't got as many friends and then you're like more isolated and then you're angry and like the world's... When you think this stuff, you might think the powers that be are against you. And like if you're thinking that the government are against you and you're angry and like, these sort of things, it's like this rabbit hole. At that point, I don't know how positive that is for your mental health. It's just my own conjecture from a mental health support aspect, is that I worry that people might end up with mental health, if they've got existing conditions, it might exacerbate them, thinking the government's against you and all this, whether it is or isn't, thinking it is going down that rabbit hole is, it might exacerbate existing conditions, and also it might start people into places of isolation from their friends, social isolation, pushed into other rabbit holes online, places like off Facebook onto somewhere else where more of these ideas go around, and I don't know, I just don't know if it's all healthy. So instead of saying you're mental, look at you, I'm not doing that at all. What I'm saying is, if any of you identify in any way with any of the mental health things we're going to look at, I don't know, I'm going to explore it today. I'm going to look at 2 things, hopefully, depending on time. This is Mashable, and it's an article written by Rebecca Ruiz, and this is Political, Psychological, Structural Factors on Conspiracy Beliefs About the COVID Panic, written by Seon Kim and Hugh Kim, Department of Public Administration from the University of Suwon, and it's cited by them. It was published in 31st of December and peer-reviewed. It's peer-reviewed in November and published in December, and the citations for all the things they say are all at the bottom here. It's quite a big thing, that one. Quite a big actual piece of work. Like not in a negative way, like a good way, a piece of work. Really, like a lot to look at. Might not get through all that tonight. So we're set the scene, and what we're going to do is set the scene for a conversation about mental health through the prism of an interest in conspiracy ideas. I'm not going to say it doesn't serve you. It might be that it helps. It might be that it doesn't. I've only picked up, bear in mind, They're going to love this. What I've only gone and done is gone on Google, right? I've only gone on Google and I've written in how conspiracy theories affect mental health. And I've searched for it. And then the first thing that's come up here, Mashable, I've clicked that, right? There's two reasons I've done this. One is I want to prove, I often moan about Google being shit because you can't get what you search for because it just shows you the most common thing. And I searched for how to get glue out of my ear, not it's a bad idea to put glue in your ear, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean? If you search for something that's so popular in one way and you've got a really specific question, it doesn't tell you the specific question, it just tells you the popular thing over and over again. Sometimes Google can be a bit rubbish and they're saying it's censored, but this is a different thing. It's about mental health, isn't it? So I just clicked the top one because another reason, Google's actually quite good sometimes, and another reason is that I wanted to see what, if I'm thinking, I've got maybe a problem with my mental health and conspiracy theories. Actually saying that, maybe they wouldn't be on Google, but what's the top thing that comes up and what do we get to see? And we can just look at it and judge whether it's a good thing. I'm not saying that Mashable is going to be the Bible of mental health. I'm just saying this is what most people are most likely to click on if they're thinking they've got a mental health crisis relating to conspiracy theories. There's something I will say right now. If you think you're having a mental health crisis and you're in the UK, then call 116123 for free. That's the Samaritans. It can be anything. It can be that you think you're feeling really depressed. You don't necessarily need to be suicidal to call the Samaritans, but if you are suicidal, please definitely do. Please definitely do. It's an absolute it's just there as a great option that you should definitely explore. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. There it is. That's the Samaritans. In the USA, you've got Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255 or 988. These are places where you can call strangers online who just will let you talk. So please don't think, again, conspiratorially minded. Don't worry if you think, how are you going to call these numbers if you think you're paranoid about these? It's just my conjectures, it's just my testimony, but the people who work there are bound by the duty of care to the people they talk to not reveal details. So I've never had anyone tell me any details of any calls that have gone on in the Samaritans, but I know somebody who was very close to me, who I can trust implicitly. They were a teacher of mine, and I used to cut their hair, and I know their sons, so they did. I hope that's not enough information to identify them because they want to be anonymous. They worked on the phones for the Samaritans, and this is just my testimony, but that was just I used to cut hair. That was a normal person. I can check their backstory. I know who they are. They're not some CIA agent. Definitely not some agent. And even if they were, and you explain how you feel to people, and they're just people, and it helps you out, maybe that's an option, isn't it? It's an option. So it's definitely worth trying, even if you feel worried about it conspiratorially. Just give it a fucking go. Just give it a fucking go. So that's for actual actionable crisis moments. We're now going to have a more detailed conversation about conspiracy theories and mental health crisis. I will say before we get going that what we're going to come to on this more detailed, what I would call more in-depth study, is there can be some positives. It's not all negative. It actually suggests, and God, I should have highlighted it and known exactly where it was. In some parts, it suggests that it helps people to feel in control, and it helps people to feel that they, in a world where you don't know how things are happening and why they're happening, to have something to believe in can actually ground you in some ways. So there are some positives maybe for people, but we'd have to get into that. It's deep. It's not just what I just said. Look, perceived control here, I think it is. Perceived control refers to a person's perception of their ability to control events and objects. Believing conspiracy theories is a way to create a sense of control. Belief in conspiracy theories are widely considered to be a product of a perceived lack of control. Miller et al. Argue that those with strong beliefs in conspiracy theories are able to see how endorsing the conspiracy can serve their own stakes. Douglas et al. Explain that people who lack control may seek a sense of control by believing conspiracy theories because such theories provide an opportunity to reverse official narratives and allow people to feel they have a better understanding. High levels of powerlessness along with low levels of self-esteem are related to beliefs in specific conspiracies, whereas high external locus of control levels along with low trust levels are associated with endorsement of conspiracies. And this is their study, number 24. So we'll go and take a look at this. Their study, because what they've done is, this is a psychological study. So they don't just say this. What they've done is they've done a study, and this is the study if you want to like go and have a good look at it. It's on the internet. So that's the sort of angle that we come across here. So that's not necessarily negative. It's just they're stating how things are, how thoughts are formed, what beliefs are like. It's they're stating things based on their research, their actual studies and research. But we can argue that it could be positive or negative. I could argue that that's negative in a way. Oh, I've lost the thing now because where was it? It's going to be hard for me to get through this one. I'm going to need to have two windows open. One we can click on and move around, and one where I know where I am. Ideology, theory and hypothesis, it's below this. Authoritarianism, ideology, partisanship, religion, trust, perceived risk, anxiety, negative emotion, perceived control. And there's counter studies here that show changes in level of control have no effect on beliefs. So maybe it's not that. They're countering their own arguments. Do you remember what we said about rigorous journalism before and things like that? So it might not be that. There's another study, we can look into that. We'll have to discuss all that. But what I was basically going to say was, if you feel that you're out of control in your life and you've got no sense of self-esteem, and you find something that can make you feel in control and give you a sense of self-esteem, sounds like the Martin Liedtke story in a way, doesn't it? Sounds a bit like the Martin Liedtke story. Out of control, low self-esteem, can't do anything about these things happening around him. Suddenly, and Jade in her van. Van's fucked. Things are fucked. I've got no control over my life. I believe the powers that be are doing it to me. Now I've got a thing that I can attach to that gives me some sense of status, some sense of self-control. Not self-control, control over things, over the group, over the stories, the narrative, my position within it. That might make them feel something more positive. Maybe you shouldn't build your house on sand. Maybe the wise man built his house on the rocks. Remember that one from the old Sunday school? I don't know. But maybe that, the camaraderie, that's a good point as well. The community aspect, yeah, absolutely that. Absolutely that. Yeah, there's a lot to it, isn't there? So I'm not here to say it's necessarily bad, but that could be argued in different ways. We'll get into it. That's a deeper conversation about self-esteem and perceived control. We're going to have to get into that. But what we're going to start with is the idea that is presented by Mashable, that it's a mental health crisis. So bear in mind, Scotty Hottie here is not here to tell you you are mental if you believe conspiracy theories. It's a complex relationship between disinformation and mental health. And we're worried that if we don't talk about it in the open, if we don't dig into this community, I've got now an opportunity. This is what it's all about I guess this is maybe we should do this more on YouTube as well, because we only do this on Mental Health Monday on Twitch. Maybe I should bring this part of it to YouTube for them. Big face moment. We found a community. We've looked at their funny videos. We've looked at their Annie and Johnny and Amber Heard moment. We've made some live streams. But now I've discovered a deeper thing, which is a complex relationship between disinformation and mental health that I brought to our attention on Mental Health Monday, that I think, talking about the camaraderie in their community, if we can make some sort of ripple in that community with this conversation, rather than the one about he said, she said, and Jade said, and this, then we might have done something really powerful that can actually help somebody. Because it doesn't matter if they're not all, maybe some of them are quite sensible. Maybe Cam is not like suffering from depression. Maybe Jade is not suffering with anxiety, but maybe some of her audience are, because we've discovered that there's a complex relationship between. So I'm not here to point fingers. I'm not here to say, you're idiots. What I am here to say is, hopefully we can offer you something deeper and more meaningful than the conspiracy theory itself. Because I feel the conspiracy theory itself, it's a bit like a strange raft taking you off to new places, but suddenly you become adrift of the rest of society. Now you're on this strange raft and you're having to go to these strange new places because you're not connected so much with the rest of society, and eventually you become run aground and you just have to make do with what's going on. I don't know if it eventually serves you and turns itself into a castle and light and energy, or if the community are backbiting or positive or negative. I worry for some people within that. I go so far as to say many in these conspiracy theory communities will find women more willing to be attracted to them who will share their ideas. Women that might not ordinarily be attracted to them had they not held the ideas. Yeah, that's an idea as well, isn't it? Everyone wants to find their thing that they can peacock with, in a way, don't they? And maybe this is that thing for some of them. So let's dig in a little bit. I won't promise that we're going to finish it all tonight. Definitely don't promise that. What I do hope to do is edit this, get it up on Mental Health Monday, maybe cover some of this on the stream in the weeks, and not just on Mental Health Monday. But I want to do all the important big work here on Mondays, on Mental Health Monday. So here we are. This story is part of a 2-part series, and the second part is about the toll of being targeted by racist disinformation. There's a companion piece which we could come to in part 3 or whatever, but we're here now, so again, I'm not going to jump off to the next thing right now. Okay, so this is not my opinion. This is something I'm now going to learn about with you live online. Every day, people who spend time online face a deluge of conspiracy theories, misinformation and disinformation. Plenty of them move along, clicking past outlandish or false content that's designed to lure them in. Now, even if you are conspiratorially minded, I don't know, we need a word that we can both agree on, that you don't think is me being rude to you, and I don't think gives you credence or credit. Funny that. But you know what I mean? Like, the Febs is probably a good one, because they've called themselves that, and that's okay. The Febs. But in America, they're not British, are they? It might be these Q people, or I've said that now. But alternative narrative persons, yeah, ANPs, ANPs. Febs is an acronym. It's Flat Earth British. So they weren't allowed to put that in the title of their video. Obviously the British thing was fine, but the other words were a bit of a problem. So they just shortened it to Febs. And it is quite good. Martin's got this thing, flat. I said he didn't have enough catchphrases, but he's got the flat thumbs. He's got the, I said it now, you see. But this is Twitch. Twitch is more, I don't care about the algorithmic thing on Twitch. I feel much more comfortable here. It's just like live stream on Twitch. Actually, saying this, we're supposed to get into this now, but I'm going to say this now because I'm talking to you. I think YouTube is the place it's going to grow, and Twitch is going to be our gaming and chatting place, like this place for us that want to be here, that are into the games necessarily, that come from the gaming side. But YouTube is going to be the place where, like, YouTube's a big open platform. Think of it like how TikTok, all the young people are on TikTok, they're making TikToks, yeah? Like, if you want to go and watch some media and you're just a normal person, you don't turn on Twitch. You have to either be guided there through your favourite content creator, or you have to be interested in video games. You might know what poggers means. You might know what, they got all their own little pictures, the emojis and emoticons and all that. It's its own little ecosystem. And if you're in that crowd, if you're in that sort of, like, I'm not completely in that crowd, but I've got a foot in that camp, haven't I? Because I'm a gamer. But like, Twitch is really that crowd, isn't it? And you can be that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. But it's a smaller niche compared to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is on YouTube. So when YouTube starts streaming as more common, I'm noticing there's going to be more and more people that would never have turned on Twitch, don't know what it is, but they will absolutely watch a YouTube live stream because they're so used to watching YouTube videos that now YouTube live streaming is just now a thing. It's a different media format, but I've seen so many people that, you're boomers, but they're on Facebook and YouTube doing live streams. It's now popular. And you followed me here and then found other streams. So, the Twitch ecosystem is great. It's a cool place. I like being here. We attract people on Twitch, but not for Mental Health Monday necessarily. I think more normally we attract them on Genshin Impact or stuff like that, which I think sits better on Twitch, because you do that on YouTube, and YouTube gaming has never really caught on. I don't think YouTube streaming, this is what I think people need to get into their heads. This is not a Mental Health Monday thing, it's just between us about this, but and something I'm learning is that streaming is not just streaming, is it? Like Asmongold streams World of Warcraft, that's perfect Twitch stuff. But when he's streaming conversation about a video, reacting to a video, that's better on YouTube. That's more YouTube style content. Twitch has a lot of varied content. It's got the ASMR, they're licking the microphones. It's got just chatting, it's got different games. But it's not that. If you want to start a YouTube a stream, there's a girl on Twitch that's popular that does animal welfare, and she runs a sanctuary. And that's really good and it's cool, and like she's part of this Twitch community because she is, I guess, what's the word? Like she's probably in the gamer psyche herself. She's at this right age range, and she's probably a Twitch viewer herself. She's gone on Twitch to do her streaming. But I think if you're going to start a stream these days and it's going to be, I don't know, just anything that's not in that more clear niche of like Among Us, gaming, stream, Fortnite, World of Warcraft, if you're not anything to do with that, if you're something different, like let's say you're a cobbler, you make shoes, do that on YouTube. It's never going to get found on Twitch. It's never going to be interesting on Twitch. People aren't on Twitch for that. But on YouTube, everyone's on there for everything else. So that's why I think YouTube streaming will grow and become really big. But it won't be that the gamers and the World of Warcraft thing will blow up on YouTube. It'll have its niche. But I think that Twitch will stay Twitch for that more gamer-oriented content. And I think YouTube will dominate this more light entertainment marketplace. And so our stream, Mental Health Monday, actually belongs on YouTube, doesn't it? Our Mental Health Monday belongs on YouTube. The Genshin Impact can go on Twitch, and the me talking shit, me doing anything else other than playing computer games or something that is directly pertinent and understandable to the Twitch audience, a subathon or a whatever. And that's it. You think about those people who are in that room, the Twitch room, and you think about the other rest of the world who are on YouTube and Facebook and whatever, I think, and young people don't have all the money. I'll tell you what's different as well. Twitch is more financially profitable for me right now because people are much more normalized with their subscriptions, like tips, that's all, like that monetization is factored into the stream here, and that's right now more lucrative to a smaller streamer because smaller streamer, smaller numbers of people, the money is relatively more, isn't it? But I think as you grow, obviously you can get more money from streaming when you're big generally, but I think when you grow, sponsorships are more important and things like that, and YouTube views come into that more again, like the ongoing viewing on YouTube comes into that, and I'm not monetized yet on YouTube exactly, so I think it will change. I think the balance will shift, and also when I become monetizable on YouTube, people can sub to me on YouTube. Like, there's they're going to, YouTube are not stupid. They're not going to look at Twitch and say, well, monetization's good over there. That's a shame we can't do that. They're going to say, right, how do we set up this culture of money? They're going to have tippies. They're going to have, I watch other streamers on YouTube who have the tippies and the things going. So you can get it on there. And when we get to it and it, whatever thing, I think it's number of subscribers. I was lucky here because of your support, because of Capital K as well with the sub drops. We can jump that sub jump into affiliate because people can gift subs, but on YouTube there's no gifting of subs. You either have people that want to watch you and subscribe or they don't, so there's that difference. But I think eventually YouTube monetizable, daytime, 2 p.m, all this other stuff will take over from me playing games. I don't think me playing games on Twitch will be able to grow as quickly either, and I think YouTube, because they're a big company, will put a lot of backing into that, trying to help people grow. Being an early, I'm not even an early adopter, I'm late to the game. They're already paying people millions of pounds to move to YouTube, but you know what I'm saying, like that's going to be a growth area. And for the style of content that we make, I think does YouTube take half a gift side Twitch? I don't know, because I'm not up to being monetized. I got monetized on True Binaural, and I only used the monetization so that I could have my videos shown to people, because if you're not monetized, or if you are monetizable and you choose not to monetize, it doesn't it doesn't promote your videos, and then they still put adverts on your content anyway. So I switch on the monetization, but I'm not, I don't watch the money trickling in. It's only like $10 a month or something, and I don't know how much the cut is, but we can still have this tip me tippies the same, because that's off brand, the tip me tippies, isn't it? That's a separate website. We can still just have that. But people could become YouTube members instead of both Twitch and YouTube. Then there'll be a conflict of interest, won't there? Am I asking people to subscribe at both ends? I might just put it all in one place. But what I wouldn't do is play hours and hours of Genshin Impact late night on my YouTube channel, because that's going to put people off when they come there and see that, isn't it? It has to be compartmentalized as an upload, put in the Genshin Impact playlist. They get to choose it. If it's just like you tune in, what's this guy doing? He just plays Genshin Impact at night. It's not for me. You know, I'm making more of a show, more of a media product. So I think Twitch is for streaming, when you just turn it on and you're on for hours and you play some games and you have a chat and whatever. You know, that's that kind of streaming. But on YouTube, I'm doing a 2-hour broadcast with a subject, topic, start, middle, end, you know, some interjection in the middle, but it's an episode. And I might even have to make them a bit shorter. You know, it's different, isn't it? And I think that's what will happen on YouTube more and more. And then there'll be more people with more money. You already see it with the podcasts. There'll be people with more money and they'll take over and they'll do what I was describing, but really well. Already the top streamers do that on Twitch though. Asmongold will do an hour of video reacting, then a half hour of this, then 2 hours of gameplay. So he's doing those episodes, but he's doing them all in one long stream, end to end. He's much more accomplished than me and much more capable. But I don't know how I'd feel about long form like that, but you know, you could do that. What I would actually prefer to do is I'd prefer to join forces with other people. This is another aspect of streaming that I've not even entertained yet, but the networking thing. So I could say, look, I'm starting at this time and I'm finishing at this time. If I go a little bit over, I'm sorry, but like, you know, sometimes we do a lot of chuff, but and at the end of my stream, I could say, now why don't you go and watch this person who I think is good and I'm proud to promote, and they start at this time and go to this time. And then, you know, maybe there's someone before me, you know, I'd like to do that. That can be worked in the future, and be more of a team, like you say. And also, I could invite people into this room if they want to run a stream for an hour on my channel. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I don't know if I'm not Ganji Kid. Ganji Kid is the stream, isn't it? So I don't know if you're allowed to have a guest host for an hour. But, you know, these are things for the future. We're not up to that yet. We're nowhere near that yet. But, you know, presenting a format and a show like that, you know, that's certainly with the podcast as well. You know, that's enough, isn't it? That's a lot to think about. And I think that all grows on YouTube. I don't think that all grows on Twitch. I just don't. We have got people that come to us on Twitch for new and have never met me before and seen our product and, you know, our content, and come to Twitch. You know, that's happened. Twitch has grown. It's been financially lucrative in these early days. You know, our stream number of followers and all that keeps growing. Yes. But on YouTube, I was able to make a 10x jump with that little subject thing, go through different subjects, making more snowball, go through different subjects. It seems to be working much more in a way that I can understand much more clearly on YouTube, I feel. Yeah. So that's got nothing to do with mental health, and I'm wasting our time talking about it. But I could cut it into a little YouTube video. Every day, people who spend time online face a deluge of conspiracy theories, misinformation and disinformation. Plenty of them move along, clicking past outlandish or false content that's designed to lure them in. So, it is interesting, isn't it? It's something that we're doing together, isn't it? You know, so it's something that we're doing together, creating this stream. So, yeah, it is interesting. What I want to say here about this, so I'm going to do this now. So I'll know in the edit to come back. I'll see in the edit that I start talking to you and chuffing, and I'll say at the end of that I go like that, and then when I see that happen, I'll cut there. The false content's designed to lure them in. Now you might say, Scotty, hang on, we're not misinformation and disinformation. It's not false content. So everyone does their videos. You do your videos designed to lure me in. You could be false content. It's not like that. But you also will accept, right? Everyone will accept that you've seen those adverts where it says, oh, this new magic miracle stick cures people's breath through their feet. Click here now. This woman wouldn't believe the amount of money she got back from this simple hack. Click here now. You know, those adverts that you don't click You know, those ones at the end of the news, when you're looking on the news stories and you don't click them. You don't click them. Should I show them? Do I need to show them? I could just show them, couldn't I? Because I could just go on anything like... it'll be on the Daily Mail, won't it? They'll have them on the... I know they've got them on the Liverpool... I read the Liverpool Echo. So I know they've got them on the Liverpool Echo. So you go on the news. You've heard of the news, yeah? Every time I come on here, they want me to reject their things. They don't ever remember that I've rejected them in the past. You know, oh, look at that. It's flat earth. Look. But you go down and you get... Like, there they are. Here they are. Here they come. Channel 4 Gogglebox star Lee Riley issues Jenny health update after mini operation. Is that news, or is it one of those funny adverts that you know, clickbait? 2,000 homes could receive free boilers. I mean, these might be news stories and they might be a bit of clickbaity, or there might be news stories that act a bit clickbaity, but you know what I'm saying, don't you? You know what I'm saying? These adverts that... it's got Holly Willoughby in there. There she is. It's always Holly Willoughby. Holly Chuffing Willoughby. You know, Philip Schofield's discovered this new miracle cure. Check this now. Like, all these sort of things. Like, anyway. Sometimes you can spot the false content designed to lure you in. So don't think I'm telling you that your conspiracy theory is just rubbish and false content. What I'm saying is that there is some false content, and you know there is. I'm not blaming it on this. I'm not blaming it on that. I just blamed it on the Liverpool Echo. But I'm not saying that what you've come to through the Tartar or anything that. I do that in my other content. Here on Mental Health Monday, I'm not disputing you. I'm not critiquing your ideas on that. I'm asking you to investigate with me whether these ideas serve your mental health or not. And we know that there is some out there, some false content designed to lure us in. Absolutely. Some, however, become ensnared for reasons experts don't fully understand. Thanks to algorithms. Now, I read that as logarithms because I'm an idiot. And when I grew up, there was a thing called logarithms. Because I'm not that old, but my granddad used to talk about them. And they were tables of numbers and charts that they used to do multiplication and calculations. So logarithms existed, and I get those tables of numbers and things, and in my brain I say that's like a computer. And when computers use algorithms, I say in my brain it's logarithms. So that's just me. Yeah, that's just me. But thanks to algorithms like the ones that drew many to can't say that. People quickly slip into dark corners of the internet and find a community of believers or even zealots who swear they've discovered hidden truths and forbidden knowledge. Now, what I also want you to do is, I know that this article might seem like it's an attack, but also I want to see if any people find this rings true or sounds like there's some resonance in it. Not magic energy resonance, just it's a word to describe whether you think, oh, I do know someone who's a bit like a zealot, a bit of a hidden truther and forbidden knowledge. You know, it's forbidden, it's hidden. Do these things match or not? These people might rightfully distrust government authorities. It says rightfully. Distrust government authorities. Find political polarisation invigorating. Someone made a comment on one of the videos, and we've got a lot of new commenters recently, so forgive me for not remembering exactly who it was. But they made the comment, and it basically said that for your mental health, that mathematics and scientific thinking are good for your mental health. So here's a complex series of equations that prove the flat earth. I think that was the long and the short of it. And whether it is good for your mental health or not to do mental acrobatics and to do sums and multiplication, I couldn't follow it. Wasn't good for my mental health. But I'm eating now. What am I doing that for? That's naughty to just start eating in class. It is naughty. Don't do that on the telly. Right. It's not good if your job forces you to be mentally on all the time. Yeah, that's a good point. And I'll tell you what, you do a job like that, don't you? And I used to with hairdressing in a way. Not as important as looking after people's health, but if their colour went wrong, then there was hell to pay. So you'd be mentally on all the time, and trying to juggle two things as well, like the phone going and what's she doing over there. Did you cut that right? But yeah, so it might not be good for us, mightn't it, to have that going on all the time. Sometimes you need to not think about anything. But political polarisation, invigorating. We're not saying bad. And these people might rightfully distrust government authorities, find political polarisation invigorating, and search for information that conveys their own views, all of which could make them more vulnerable to falsehoods. There's a point, right? So they're not saying that you're wrong. They're saying that while you're searching for this information, there's people out there that know you're searching for that information on DuckDuckGo, and they're on DuckDuckGo because that's where they know you are, because they want to put up their falsehoods. That's a fair place. That's a fair thing to say, isn't it? There's people out there. Doesn't matter what you're searching for. If you're searching for right-wing stuff or left-wing stuff, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're searching for the Loch Ness Monster or what to put on your toast in the morning. There's someone out there with their little pop-up of their funny advert, and this skin cream could make you millionaires. There's someone out there trying to draw you in with their bullshit everywhere on the internet. We're agreeing on that, aren't we? We're agreeing on that. Just because you're on DuckDuckGo doesn't mean you're away from it. In fact, the only thing I would say is that maybe Google is a bit better for that, because when they see people doing that, they're like, no, censor them, get rid of them, get them out of here. Get them out of here. They don't want people doing that. That's why we've got that thing on Google when you do a video about the flat earth and it says underneath, oh, flat earth is a fucking load of nonsense. Like it did in one of my videos, even though I'm saying it's a fucking load of nonsense. But there you go. Right. I shouldn't say it's a fucking load of nonsense because we're doing this. But we agree on that. More vulnerable to falsehoods. Conventional wisdom says media literacy, fact-checking and critical thinking skills are the best weapons against those impulses. I'll totally agree on that. And there are 3 episodes we can do. Yeah, this approach rests on the dangerous assumption that people's emotional and psychological well-being has little bearing on their vulnerability to far-fetched ideas, elaborate lies and cunning propaganda. In fact, recent research suggests their mental health can influence what they're willing to believe. So now we're saying, and it's not just some research, it's here. But what we're basically saying is that people who are struggling mentally with certain things are going to be... Sorry, I've got to stop eating these nuts. Let me just get rid of this handful. I just came across all hungry. And the bag's right there. Too much temptation for me. I had to get the nuts in my mouth. So, what we're saying is that studies have shown conspiracy theories appeal to people with unmet psychological needs. They crave knowledge, desire safety and security, and need to maintain positive self-esteem. This is what we were talking about earlier. We were looking into it. Conspiracy theories, which may sometimes be true, we're not saying it's fucking rubbish, we're saying conspiracies, even the ones that might be true, help, or especially the ones that might be true, I suppose, help explain the unknown, giving people a deep sense of satisfaction. That relief, however, can be temporary, because it might not move you out of your house, it might not pay your food bill, you might not fix your life on a day-to-day nuts and bolts level, like I keep saying is the problem with these things, that it doesn't necessarily serve you, but it might make you feel satisfied and relieved in a way. Past research shows conspiracy theories are associated with anxiety, social isolation and negative emotions. And the research comes up. If you want to click it, the research comes up. Look, so it's not just saying there's past research. Here is the research, and I will copy and it's the first thing on Google, so you'll find that yourself, but I will copy and paste it into chat. It'll come up on the screen so no one can say, oh, you just made up. There it is. Some people won't think critically. It does support the narrative. The cognitive dissonance is too much for them. Yeah, and do you know what? I thought it was going to say that studies show that conspiracy theories appeal to people with unmet psychological needs. Ergo, yes, you are fucking nuts, and that's why you like conspiracies. But it's not saying that, is it? It's unmet psychological needs is even safety and secure. I mean, I feel like I've got unmet needs in the areas of maybe safety and security in terms of finances. You know, I'd say that honestly. Why not? Is anyone else here like absolutely, you know, blowing cash out their arsehole? Like, no. Like, we all have to struggle from day to day to pay our bills and, you know, balance the books and all that shit, don't we? Like, even when I was running a business and I had money coming in the daily, it wasn't like, oh great, look at all that cash, now I can just lay back and relax on my island. It was like, I've got more bills to pay and that cash has got to go in the bank and she's got to get paid and she's got to get paid. Like, it became a bigger thing, more anxiety for me. More money, more problems. Hey, dirty, baby, I got your money, don't you worry. Said, hey, baby, I got your money. I'm not allowed to do that because I'm too old, even though that's my generation's music. I'm Generation Y, aren't I? X or Y? I think I'm just out of X and into Y. I might be Generation Y. X. I think I'm Generation X. Generation X. Terminator X. Wait a minute now. What's up, brother? No. Death row. What's up, brother? No. Copyright strike. Yeah. Let's leave that. Past research shows conspiracy theories are associated with anxiety. So it's not saying that conspiracy theories cause it. It might be you've got it and you go to the conspiracy. Social isolation and negative emotions, but it's associated with it. Maybe it does cause it. This is not. See, this is science. This is the way science works. It doesn't say, here's conspiracy theories. Here's the people that have got the ideas, and a lot of them are anxious, right? It doesn't say, therefore, conspiracy makes you anxious. Boom, done. Mic drop. It doesn't do that. It says, here's a study that shows an association. Yeah? It doesn't say that means X equals Y. But here's a study and it shows an association. Now, a new wave of research conducted during the COVID pandemic suggests a plausible connection between uncertainty, anxiety, depression, and an increased likelihood of believing conspiracy theories. And this is why it's good that I found this other thing, these two things, even though they were both top on the Google, is that this is the research article that this is informed by. This has been written post-COVID, and this was written post-COVID, but we saw this one was printed and published November and December. It was received in just November, accepted, meaning peer-reviewed and accepted, in December, and published in December. And this Mashable was then written in 2021 June. So December 2020 and then June 2021. So it's quite likely that this article is informed by this research. So there you go. What's important though is I get on with some of it and at least try and make an emotional appeal, because that's what appeals to these chuffers. To you chuffer. What I need to make sure that we do is we need to get a couple of these things, these alarm bells, not alarm bells, these I'm thinking of like in church where people ring bells and it's similar, and you know, ding ding a ding, ding ding a ding, and like you're in a choir and you're all ringing bells, like these resonances, like get on the same wavelength with this shit. That they see, so they hear something, go, actually, that does sound a bit like this sort of thing. I thought we described Martin Liedtke quite well earlier with the self-esteem thing. You know, I hope that we, you know, some of these things might seem relevant to some of these people. Because if that's the case, then we're onto something and we can help them with their unmet psychological needs. We can help them with whatever distortions the conspiracies might leave them with. That's absolutely possible. Or at least we can give them the information, the studies, the resources. They can have a look at it themselves. And if they're feeling particularly worried about something, call the Samaritans, call Lifeline, or even, this is another great one, mind.org. Mind.org.uk, and it's mental health resources. Any issue that you've got mental health wise, there's a page on it for this here. It's got loads of good stuff. It was my portal to mental health support when I needed it, and it taught me about different forms of support that I didn't realise were available, and I tried them out and they were fucking magical. Anxiety is no longer... It's still something that happens to me. I still get anxious, but now I can sort of shut that down and operate. So they really helped. If it wasn't for Mind, I don't think I'd be doing this right now. I'd have probably still been a bit worried about things. Yeah. Anywho. The confidence became an antidote to the misery of not knowing what might come next. That sounds about right, doesn't it? That confidence became an antidote to the misery of not knowing what might come next. We've just been through this whole COVID thing, and a lot of us didn't want to be indoors. A lot of us weren't sure if Boris Johnson was telling us the fucking truth. But thank God it wasn't just Boris Johnson that was responsible. Thank God it was all the scientists. And, Boris Johnson was late to the party in terms of lockdown. Boris Johnson is... There's an argument to be... We're not going to argue the politics of COVID now. But it was fucking, tiresome to go through it, wasn't it? Well, more than tiresome. Really worrying. Really worrying. If you believed in it, it was. If not, it might be different for you. Whatever. If not, you're still not happy because the whole world's been locked down by your government for some fakery, and that even might feel worse. So there's all sorts of, feelings to go on, isn't there? But having something you can be confident about, being able to say, right, I've got that now. It's not this that's on the telly, and it's not that that's making me worried. Now I don't have to feel worried. I can go say it's this. That can be an antidote to the misery. Right or wrong? Right or wrong, we can both agree on that. You're feeling very insecure about safety after 9/11. Yeah, and you know what, right? I don't necessarily think... This is what fucks me off about some of this stuff. I'll go into this now. I'll deep into 9/11 for a minute. I don't necessarily think that 9/11 was exactly as it was portrayed in the news and by the government. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's exactly the narrative, what was portrayed in the news and by the government. But... equally, I can't say for any factual evidentiary basis that this, that, the other conspiracy theory was definitely right or wrong, right? What I will say is that I do know that Osama bin Laden, he didn't grow up and become a terrorist out of nowhere. He was actually on the side of the West in the fight in, was it Beirut? We're talking about the breakup of Yugoslavia. And when Yugoslavia broke down... some Soviet communist and some Western, there were shadow forces. They didn't want the former Yugoslav countries to become communist, so it was a fight between there were Serbs, there were Muslim people. Osama bin Laden was funded by our government, and his friends were taught to fight. Afghanistan, before Afghanistan, this is. And Afghanistan's been going on for a long time as well, hundreds of years. But before Afghanistan, I'm talking about... I can just bring this up, can't I? I can just bring this up on the internet. But this is conspiracy, and I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this on this episode. Look, let me just show you Osama bin Laden, British Army training. Just put that. Maybe there's too much junk to get in the way now, isn't there? Maybe there's too much junk. I'm talking about that's to go. Yeah, Afghanistan, Soviet Union. You're right. The Mujahideen. So what am I getting confused with? I was pretty sure he was part of the... Let me just check the breakdown of... Because this is all murky, isn't it? It's all murky as well. Because what happened... Yugoslavia. What happened is that there was like a power struggle between the Soviet forces and Kosovo, isn't it? Kosovo, the Kosovans. There was a fucking awful Srebrenica massacre. It's making me feel... See, I'm going to do this thing where I cry on stream. gonna do the thing when I cry on stream again. I've got to hold myself together. What happened in Srebrenica was that this isn't funny now. This isn't funny. What happened in Srebrenica, the breakdown of the countries after Yugoslavia and the power struggle for them. One fucker, one of the people that ran the country, was one of these fuckers. They had put people in these concentration camps essentially in Srebrenica, and they killed them like en masse, like genocide. So the killings were perpetuated by units of the Bosnian Serb army, it says, and they killed the Bosnian Muslims. And what they did was they shepherded them into the concentration camps and segregated the women and children from the men, and then they put all the men on buses and drove them off and murdered them. So shit like that went down, right? And because they were doing it to Muslims, right? Because they were doing it to Muslims, the people who were trained to fight the Soviets, like Osama bin Laden, were given guns and money. I mean, I'm not saying Osama bin Laden personally did this now, because we just looked at his and it didn't say this, but I thought he was part of the Mujahideen, because the Mujahideen were then sent in, like, fucking, let's have some. I'm not having this. And people think the Mujahideen are like this horrific Saudi, West, kill the West, attack the West. But they weren't. We, the Western powers, armed them and trained them and helped them to fight against the bad people in the breakdown of Yugoslavia, the Mujahideen. Certainly, if we search for breakup of Yugoslavia like this, let me do breakdown of Yugoslavia, Mujahideen. Like, right and wrongs are funny things when it comes to wartime and sides and massacres and things, aren't they? Right and wrongs are funny things. Bosnian Mujahideen, foreign fighters in the Bosnian War. Like, how people have gone out to Ukraine? How people have gone out to Ukraine to fight because they believe they're fighting for, a cause, and they're not from Ukraine. Some of them are from England or wherever. So the Bosnian Mujahideen were primarily from Afghanistan and Arab countries, though young Muslim volunteers arrived from all... I'm going to cry. Though young Muslim volunteers arrived from all around the world, including Asia, North Africa and Europe. And I said I wanted to go to Ukraine, didn't I? I wanted to go and use my video camera to try and document it, because I'm not really the sort of person that likes killing, but it touches my soul when people that aren't involved in this feel they have to travel across the world to protect people who are being, murdered. So people from around the world went to do this, and so that's why I thought Osama bin Laden was part of that, because the Mujahideen, the Mujahideen. And then obviously things change, don't they? They change, and because of what happened in Afghanistan, and I'm not going to go into that too deeply now, but people's opinions on things change, and Osama bin Laden and his friends ended up flying some planes into the 9/11 towers, didn't they? Like, I'm not going to contest that. It's not like I'm a conspiracy theorist who said, no, George Bush flew the planes into the towers. No, like, fucking obviously these people did it. His family had to be thrown out of the country, so it's complex web. But obviously, like, Osama bin Laden did it. But didn't we just say a minute ago that Osama bin Laden was being funded and helped, and part of the CIA were in there in the Mujahideen places, giving them the guns and helping them along, because the official American army can't be in there doing it, remember? It's all this other cloak and dagger stuff. So when they're on your side and it's helping you, it's good. But when they get some other funny ideas and they start to attack you because what the Saudis said or this and that, it goes bad. Yeah, so the conspiracy is not necessarily that it happened. I don't know. Some people say about this other tower going down and explosives. Again, I don't know. I would say if you're an American CIA operative and you're party to some of this, you might throw a bit of extra in the mix if you need to, for some reasons, whatever. And it might go down on a day when it helps your political, it might help your political... if we fly a few planes into this building, if we allow the Saudis to fly a few planes into this building, if we don't stop them from doing it and we know they're doing it, and we're like, listen, Captain, are we going to go on this mission, or is it just going to happen? I don't know. Is it really happening? And I don't know if wires are crossed or whatever. I don't know what went down, but maybe we wouldn't go on the telly and say, we fucked that one right up. Look at all those people that died. We had that on the CIA. We knew about these. It's Osama bin Laden, for Christ's sake. We know who he is. He's on our books. But we fucked that one right up. I wouldn't go on telly and say that. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say, yeah, we were talking to him 2 weeks ago, funding him about this thing, and it turned out he used the money for this, or anything like that. So what I'm saying is that it might not be as clear-cut as... I've allowed the term rape. I just thought you would... I'd allow it for one comment. But now I've allowed the term, so everyone can go ahead with their bad words on the chat. It's not even that bad a word. It's just a word to describe something. So it's just a word, isn't it? Words aren't bad. It's the thing that's bad. And the bad thing isn't happening. We're talking about it in a different context. So words are okay. Yeah, exactly. And we can do this thing. There's all this other stuff, isn't there? There's all this other stuff that goes on. So I don't think that because all this stuff goes on, that when it comes to it on the telly, they're going to say, yeah, this is what went down. By the book. Here's all the open sources. Let's tell you what the CIA are doing in the background. Let's tell you what the FBI... Did you know that the British MI5 are working on our behalf in Iraq? Why don't we out all our sources? Why don't we show everyone's face? Why don't we show all the operatives that are working in foreign countries? We need to, because otherwise we can't prove. And do you know what I mean? If it's not a conspiracy, but there is cloak and dagger stuff going on behind the scenes, isn't there? Clearly. Otherwise, we'd be fucked. If we didn't have MI5 and CIA trying their hardest to do the right thing and not fuck it up, then we'd be fucked. And maybe even politically, you might say, like, blow up a bus in the UK, blow up a bus, because they're just regular punters. And if that means that we can get more control over the society, fuck it, blow up a bus. We were following these Islamics and they're going to blow up a bus. Fucking let them. It's going to help us politically. Do you know what I mean? We're collateral damage to those politicians. But it doesn't mean the politicians are saying, right, where do we get explosives from? Can we call someone up and blow up a bus? It's just like these situations are going on, and sometimes they know and sometimes they don't. It's not all clear-cut black and white either way. I can never tell you the action thing, but I know from critically questioning the narrative that they're not necessarily telling me, the government, the news, are not party to the whole truth themselves always, and don't always... aren't always capable of telling me the truth, and they don't always want to. So I understand that as well. But it doesn't mean that I jump to certain illogical conclusions and stick to them like they're rigid truths as well. If I'm saying we don't know and can't know, then I'm okay to exist in that nether space where I don't know and I can't know. Who did really blow up the Twin Towers, for what reason? I'm 90% sure it was Osama bin Laden and his mates, and I'm 90% sure I know the reasons, and I'm 90% sure that the American government were tangled in that web. They weren't, they weren't outsiders looking on. They were tangled in the web. And it was a different government to the government of today. They come and go. In China, it's the same government for fucking 60, 100 years. It's going to be the same government when you're born and when you die. In China, they can think long term. Vladimir Putin's going to be in power for a lot longer in Russia than any president in America ever will be. So they can think long term. But in America, you can't really. Your politics go swing, swing, swing. So somebody might try and do... But you can't say that there's a conspiracy theory that the government did it and George Bush did it and this person... Because the other side would out them as soon as they got in the White House. They'd get in the White House and Joe Biden would look in the books and go, fucking, what have you been doing? MI5 or CIA would report to him and it'd say, did Donald Trump do that? Right, I'm fucking telling you that it's done it. Maybe unless the CIA operate... extra to the government and don't tell them everything, you can believe that, in which case it's not the government then, is it? In the same way in England, Boris Johnson didn't make the call about vaccines. Boris Johnson didn't make the call about lockdowns. It was put on him to make that decision, but the scientists, the people who are feeding the information, us people on the ground and our perceptions and ideas coupled with the media, it's a complex web and a dance. But Boris didn't get into power and say, right, 10 days from now, lockdown, I'll sort that out. Did he? He's spinning his own plates, trying to gobble up as much cash, and this thing happens, and he's like, right, well, how do I react to that? Like, he didn't design a vaccine and pump it down our throat. It's just silly. So I don't believe in the conspiracy theories, but I also don't believe in the official narrative, because I know about media control. If you want to learn some stuff, this is a book by Noam Chomsky. It's an actual book. Again, it's one of these books. Me and Jade have got something in common. We both have books. And it's got the words in it. It's all about media control. It's just one of the many books, but this is one of my favourite books. It's one of the many books that I read during my sociology studies, because we learned about media and media control in sociology, because it's important to question the narrative in the media. So yeah, that goes on. Another great example is the moon landing. Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing. They went up in space and they landed on the moon, right? They were going to do that. They were planning it for ages. So in their marketing, they wanted pictures of the moon. They wanted pictures of astronauts. So they took some marketing photos of that. It wasn't real on the moon. They just did marketing photos. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? Marketing photos. Making it up in pictures because we're going to jump up on the moon and it's a big thing and people need these pictures for their newspapers, and people did all sorts of pictures of, you know, artists' impressions of being on the moon at that time. It was a big thing. It was a big thing. NASA wanted their marketing department. Their marketing department said, we want a load of good pictures of this. Well, we haven't got there yet. We're not on the moon. Yeah, but we need a load of good pictures of this for all our marketing. So they went about gathering that material. I believe, and again, this is just me in my mad head, isn't it? But I believe that they approached Stanley Kubrick because I know that they approached Stanley Kubrick. We've got the film, the evidence, you know, there's all this other conspiracy evidence. But Stanley Kubrick did a bit of film for them, didn't he? Of like a reconstruction of a moon landing. Yeah? And I think that NASA said to themselves, right, we're going to get this. We're going to get this constructed for two reasons. One, we can use it for marketing. But two, what if it goes wrong? Because the people at NASA, this wasn't now with our cameras and Wi-Fi and whatever. This was back then. They said to them, look, I can't go. We've never been to the fucking moon before. Yeah. So I can't guarantee you the camera's going to work on the moon. Can't guarantee it. We can build it. We can test it. We can do it. But we're not on the fucking moon. So we're going to hope to get this good. You can imagine this, can't you? Yeah, you can totally see this. You wouldn't go up to the moon. You wouldn't be in the NASA room and say, I hope the camera works. Cross fingers. Let's go action moon. Like you'd say, let's have a backup plan because there's fucking millions of dollars at stake here. Everyone's going to be glued to their telly. They're all going to want to see the moon landing. We've told them there's a camera on the fucking thing. We've told them that. If we fuck this up, if we don't have a backup plan, if we fuck this up, and somewhere along the lines, Stanley Kubrick has made this little reconstruction, yeah? I don't think they used the reconstruction. I think the camera worked on the day, and they got some footage, and they showed it us. And I think somewhere along the line, some of Stanley Kubrick's footage has come out as well. And now, years later, it's hard for me to know which bit was filmed where and when and who was what. I believe we landed on the moon. I believe Stanley Kubrick did some filming that looked like we landed on the moon. The conspiracy theorists don't think both things can have happened. The conspiracy theorists will tell you that it's mutually exclusive. Has to be one or the other. Why? It doesn't have to be. Both could exist. And when I'm looking at an image and saying, does that flag look a bit right or whatever, it doesn't fucking bother me, because Stanley Kubrick did one where the flag was wrong and they did one on the moon where the flag was right, and I know they landed on the moon, so there you go. Right, it doesn't bother me. I don't have to feel mentally crushed by that. But if you can only think that, if you can't accept, because we're talking about ideas and acceptance again, aren't we? So if I can't accept that what I just said was right, I have to know the bang honest truth. I'm going to have to go to the fucking moon to find out. There's no other way around it, because I won't accept this article, I won't accept that photo, I won't accept this evidence, I won't accept that rocket. I've got to go to the fucking moon, and I'll never be able to find out unless I go to the moon. And if it's not this, it's that, and if it's not the other, it's the other, because we're not only talking about this was in the 50s. Now we've got so many conspiracy theories. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Put an Elon Musk Neuralink chip into Donald Trump's head and find out what he really thinks, at the same time as going up to space to see if the moon really exists, at the same time as going around Michael Jackson's house to see if he's not dead, at the same time as I've got to go to fucking, like, see what I'm saying? Like, I can't go and verify all these, not even, no one. If you could throw up an internet's worth of conspiracy, no one person can live a world where they know the facts about it all. You just can't. Not even the facts about reality. I can't study deep. I watch Joe Rogan and they're all interesting people. I watch Lex Fridman, they're interesting people. I can't gather that amount of knowledge. I can't put the internet into my Neuralink, into my brain. Like, the idea is to Neuralink to the internet to search stuff. It's not to me to know it all. It would be just too much. Tupac's still alive. Do you know what? That's one I believe as well. That's actually one I believe. Or I did believe until I grew up a bit and there were more internet materials for me to view. But my original thought, because I think conspiracy theories work better on people who live in that pre-internet world where you couldn't check it. My dad never checks anything on Google. He's like, saying things about, it could be anything, couldn't it? It could be like, I wonder how they put the chrome on the bumpers of the cars. Well, I'll just check it on Google for you, Dad. Like, he probably knows that one. He probably already knows how to do that. But, like, I'll check it on Google. And he's like, what? Like, we'll find out right now. There you go. That's exactly how it works. There you go. On the phone. But in the previous year, you just had to make up ideas and think about it. Like, Tupac, I did think, right? I thought this to myself. If you were on that climb, if all this shit was going on between the Crips and the Bloods and the, what was his name, Suge Knight, there was a load of shit going on, wasn't there? And all he wanted to do was make music and sell records, didn't he, Tupac? And there was all this shit going on. And all he wanted to do is make music and sell records, do a bit of drugs, make music and sell records. And all this shit was going on. And what you can do, Elvis, seen it with Elvis, seen it with others, what you can do is you can fake your death and just fuck off and live on an island. And then you can still make music. Because Tupac, this is the one that does it for me, right? Is Tupac still released albums after his death. That's what made my little brain, before the internet, bear in mind, before, verifiable, before I could see his certificates or whatever. I haven't looked into it, but I'm sure you could find a photograph of his damn corpse on a gurney, because it's the internet now. Do you know what I mean? It's the internet now. But yeah, I'd just take my money, I'd walk out the situation, I'd say, this is the last album I'm cutting, we'll fake my death, and I'll be like Elvis of hip-hop. You'll sell fuckloads of records. I've got 2 more albums on the cutting room floor. We'll do them after I'm dead. We'll just put them out after I'm dead. And I'll keep making them after. He was in a film after he was dead, for Christ's sake. If I need to bump up my income, I'll just put out another record after my death. That's why I thought he was. But he might not. He might not be dead. Or he might be dead. But it doesn't matter to me, because I don't have to give a fuck. Because it was just a funny idea. And it doesn't matter to my life if Tupac's alive or not. It won't change anything for me on a day-to-day. I still have to go to Tesco. I still have to buy my shopping. I still have to make ends meet. I don't see how it serves me. But going off on thoughts like that all the time, yeah. Going off on thoughts like that all the time. Conspiracies, isn't it? Perhaps with so much beyond understanding, people looked for answers wherever such revelations might be found. Insight was plentiful on YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and other media platforms where grifters, hucksters, and conspiracy theorists peddled the truth as they saw it to people who wanted what few could offer: certainty. That confidence became an antidote to the misery of not knowing what might come next. So they're saying that on these places like YouTube, on these places like Telegram, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch as well, they're saying that you get grifters, people who chat a load of shit for money, and that their confidence can help the people who feel worried and are miserable and don't know what comes next. Because now I can believe in something. Now I can believe in Alex Jones. I don't have to worry anymore. One hit wonders I've made. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Well, you've got to keep making, for your own self-esteem, you've got to keep making music, otherwise people don't care, and then that's a problem for the one-hit wonders. But yeah, Johnny Depp can't go Poor Johnny Depp can't go anywhere, though, because he's locked in the bathroom. Yeah, so isn't this an interesting point, though? We can all agree, there goes the headphones. We can agree whether you enjoy conspiracy theories and think they're brilliant, or whether you think conspiracy theories are a load of shit, or whether you think that Tupac's still alive and that they did land on the moon like I do, or whatever. If you're somewhere in this grey area like me, who doesn't believe the government, who doesn't follow I hate those government people, the Boris Johnsons and the politics. I'm not slipping into the media control. I've known about this since I was 16. I'm an alternative thinker. I'm a narrative questioner. So where do I sit on this? Well, certainly not what they tell me, and certainly not what someone on YouTube tells me either. So I see that, though. If someone stands up and says, all right, I know the facts here, you can follow me, I'm Alex Jones, then that can be alluring to some people. Many of those drawn into communities that trafficked in conspiracy theories also found misinformation and disinformation. The former is shared without malicious intent. The latter, according to disinformation scholar Dr. Alex Marwick, PhD, compromises false information, distorted stereotypes, and mischaracterizations as part of a campaign of persuasion. So you can be ignorant, you can be misinformation, and just be ignorant. You get it wrong. Oh, I thought that was a big power station. No, it's not. Or you can share it without malicious so the former shared without malicious intent, misinformation. It's okay to be misinformation, to be ignorant. It's not ideal, but it's okay. Disinformation is different. Disinformation is actually trying to persuade people whilst distorting things, whilst giving you some false information that you know is false, and mischaracterizing things. Mischaracterizing. That sounds a lot like the Tartaria stuff. They take something and put it out of context, just a photo of something, and then they mischaracterize it. They say it's something that it's not. Disinformation can include conspiracy theories presented as fact, and those who share disinformation typically refuse to admit they're wrong. Have you ever argued with a conspiracy person? Are you the conspiracy person yourself who refuses to admit they're wrong? Do we all refuse to admit we're wrong at some point? I think we do, don't we? I think we do. So I'll be happy to admit that I've been wrong in the past and try and open my mind to being wrong. I'll try and open my mind to being wrong. I'll try and do that. I hope those that are conspiratorially minded, as much as they will open their mind to the government talking shit, might open their mind to some randomer on the internet might also be talking shit. People who immerse themselves in this swamp of polluted information. That's interesting. Polluted information. Where does that come from? The Toxins We Carry, a journalism review. Disinformation is polluting our media environment. Columbia Journalism Review. Okay. It's an interesting comment. Like sometimes you'll get a catchphrase like that, polluted information, and we're using it now without context. It's come from somewhere else. So they're showing you where it's come from, so it doesn't become a buzzword without real meaning, without full backing of facts and ideas. Maybe not facts, maybe just conjecture. So they're showing you the conjecture, and now it's formed an idea. An idea is now given. This is like conceptual art. An idea is now given a body, a physical presence. It's now as two words. We've defined it. Do you know earlier in today's broadcast on YouTube, I was finding it difficult to talk about Antiquitech because Antiquitech to me doesn't mean shit. It's an idea. I know what the idea is. Anything old, anything that's before 50 years ago, anything before that, anything old can be thrown into the Tartaria mix. And you can say, I dug that up out of the ground. It could have been a fucking space clock. I dug that up out of the ground. It could have been a space battery. You know, anything that it's not, it's the Blackpool Tower. But, oh no, it could have been there before Blackpool and they could have been using it to create Tesla power. Like, it's that, isn't it? The Antiquitech is any old shit. Wide, broad term. I didn't like it. They're using a term here, polluted information. They're using a term here, and what they're doing is they're giving you the context and the background to why the term, what the idea means, so that we can feel confident in our use of the term, because it's not a generic, general, scientifically agreed, accepted idea that we can say, oh, you can get this thing called polluted information. Maybe in the future everyone will be talking about polluted information in the way they talk about fake news. But when they first started talking about fake news, although fake news is a bit more obvious, they might have put it in these inverted commas in articles like this and given you the background information as where we came up with that idea and term. That's a good, healthy way to use these definitions, to create definitions. We're talking about nomenclature when you talk about definitions, why things are called what they are. Nomenclature. This came up as a I'm going too far down my own rabbit hole of actual education. But nomenclature, sorry, I call it nomenclature because this is me and my brain again. That's me and algorithms again. Logarithms, nomenclature, algorithms. Nomenclature. So
Nomenclature, American nomenclature.
Nomenclature.
Nomenclature, American nomenclature.
Nomenclature. I feel instinctively to say nomenclature, but I might be wrong. So, I've been that off. I didn't want to bin that off. I was talking about it, you chuffer. History. Nomenclature. Don't listen to me. Anyway, look. Nomenclature. Of course you listen to me. It's the devising or choosing of names of things, especially in a science or other discipline. So it's important how we name things, not what the actual words are that we name them. This is so funny because in Martin Lickey's Confusing World, he often said, I wonder how we named things or where this word came from. And I go into the etymology of the words. I look at the Latin derivations or whatever. But what's also important to learn is that we do have a whole study, a whole filer of scientific discussion called nomenclature, which is talking about how we devise names for things, specifically like ideas, really. I think, ideas and why and how we form these attachments to certain ideas, what these words mean and why ideas mean things. It's about language, and language is about the way we think. Language is a way that we can see into our brains and their mechanisms. Language is the only way we can communicate, for Christ's sake, but it's more than that, isn't it? These ideas exist in here, and we put these names on them. We communicate through them. Nomenclature. So Martin was really interested in that, but he had no educational background to refer to and didn't know that it existed as I studied nomenclature. He was like, I'm really interested in the way they call things, like the post office could be the post off ice, couldn't it? Post off ice. But nomenclature would say no. Etymology would say no, but you're not able to think in those terms. But we are, so there it is. Interesting. That's why they put it in inverted commas, polluted information, because they're concerned with the nomenclature and they're putting it up for consideration and discussion. You don't have to say polluted information. That's a term we've coined from this interesting piece of journalism that's looked into ideas and thinking. Toxic information, I just called it. I made up my own term. On Twitch, we call it toxic chat or toxic this or toxic. Toxic is a slang term on Twitch, so we might be more comfortable saying toxic information. Maybe the people who wrote this didn't understand the Twitch lingo. You know what I'm saying? But just to go about it without thinking is one thing, but to understand it and see why and what does toxic mean and why is toxic applicable in this. Toxic slightly different from polluted, isn't it? I just said that we might say toxic, but toxic is different from polluted. Polluted has been, it's like pure before and then it was polluted. You can start out toxic. So language makes a difference, doesn't it, with ideas? That's just come out of that one thing being in inverted commas there. But you won't get that sort of stuff on your conspiracy channels, really, because we're not offering these ideas up for conversation and investigation on the conspiracy channels. Jade was very careful not to say, I think this is Antiquitech. I think this is Antiquitech. She did that because she didn't want to, we said it earlier, she didn't want to attach herself to the idea. So if the idea was taken down, she can't be taken down. She didn't say it. The community said it. But she didn't say Antiquitech in inverted commas. Did she? They create these ideas and put lines around them and Tartari around Antiquitech. That should be in inverted commas, but they don't put the inverted commas. The only inverted commas they use is to protect themselves. It's just one of those things. It's interesting that you get more from this sort of investigation. Not walking around Blackpool with your camera out. Now I'm doing debunking. Now I'm being mean to Jade again. I need to stop that because this is about mental health. But honestly, if I'm talking to Jade now, don't walk around Blackpool with your camera out. Take a week off. You've already taken enough time off YouTube. You need to be on it, don't you? No. You need to get your ideas in order first. So if you're looking into this that we're talking about here, it might suggest that it might be time to take a week off. Think about where the ideas are coming from, who's giving them to you, what you're doing on the internet, whether things need to be in inverted commas or not, why you're using inverted commas for the things you're using them for, and what's good. And what's good and what matters. People who immerse themselves in this swamp of polluted information, particularly those with a deep attachment to QAnon, have anecdotally is not really like science. It means some people have said some stuff and we can use it to base our investigation to say, okay, we should do some research into that. But it's just anecdotal. But anecdotally expressed preoccupation with distress over solving riddles and clues, waiting anxiously for predictions to come true, fractured relationships with loved ones over their beliefs. This is where I wonder if anyone recognises this in their life. If you're into conspiracy, do you have a preoccupation with distress over solving riddles and clues? Do you like solving riddles and clues? Do you wait anxiously for predictions to come true? Do you wait to see if it's going to happen or not? Do you study the news and scroll the news for that, I guess? Do you have fractured relationships with loved ones over their beliefs? And do you have increased isolation? If your mental health hadn't been poor prior to your involvement in these online communities, it seems that some people find that it declines the deeper they go. Has your mental health been declining since you found out about this stuff? Well, it's hard because correlation there with COVID. We had to stay in with the COVID. That's when I started looking at more of this stuff. I can't say it was this stuff that made me feel depressed. It might have been the COVID. I don't know. It's hard to... But they're saying here that people who immerse themselves in conspiracy theories find their mental health suffers due to... And they can show it through these studies. It's anecdotal. It's people just saying it happened to them. But all the time with these people, you get the anti-vaxxers. Oh, someone I know said that they died because they didn't have the vaccine or did or whatever. Someone I know said they died from the vaccine, or someone said this happened to them, or my auntie said this, and you see it on the YouTube comments. That's all anecdotal. So if you're happy with the anecdotal, this is anecdotal as well, fine. In one subreddit dedicated to people who've lost a friend or family member to QAnon, I thought they were going to say to COVID, lost a friend or family member. They talk about it like a death. Posters frequently despair over losing their loved one to what they often describe as a cult. Interesting. Very interesting. So I think that's enough there to open the box. There's a lot here in this box. If you want to read about it and get ahead of us, absolutely, I've posted it in chat. If you want to wait for next week's episode, fine. We might bring it up. I might continue to do, because I only discovered, obviously I've read the Mashable, but this, I haven't begun to be able to get through this. Remember earlier I said I needed to find something for Mental Health Monday. I haven't even begun to get through this. Do you remember when Jade said she'd done a lot of work for that tour? And she put all that stuff on the screen. Look, this is actual work here, look. Someone's done a proper job on this. Look at it all. Haven't even begun to get through that, so I need to read through that first before I share it, obviously. Not obviously, sometimes we don't have to, sometimes we can learn together, like sort of we're doing here. But I did read this first because I'm a bit of a chuffer. So I think we've done enough to open the box. We've done an hour and a half on stream on a day where I've already done 3 hours earlier. We're here for mental health support. If anyone wants to come here and talk mental health support in chat, don't worry about my plans and my mental health broadcast. I'll bin it off and we'll talk directly to you. I should have said that at the start as well, but remember the Samaritans are there for the phoning in the UK. If I've brought up anything that's made you worry, even if you're worried about how to talk to a loved one, we've got a video about that on Mental Health Monday on our channel. But even if you're worried about that, or worried about this or that, whatever you're worried about, talk to the Samaritans. They'll listen. And if it's getting really serious and you're feeling suicidal, definitely start talking to people. Your friends, your family, reach out. The Samaritans are there to help as well if you don't feel you can talk about it. If it's the first time, if it's the hard thing to open up on, give that a go. Give Lifeline a go in America. It's $9.88. It's all the same stuff as I just said then, but it's Americans. They've got an Espanol one as well, on Espanol as well. So, they've got that in America. I can't do the rest of the world, otherwise I'd have a million things. But hopefully in your neck of the woods, if you're a bit worried about things and you feel like I've just described, there's a lifeline for you in your neck of the woods too. But the lifeline can simply be a neighbour, a friend, someone. It's difficult with someone at the pub or a stranger at the park, isn't it? It's difficult because they're not there in this capacity. But quite often, if you start to open up to people, even at a hairdresser's appointment, if you were anything like I was as a hairdresser, you're not going to kick that chuffer out. You're going to sit them down for a cup of coffee and give them another half hour. Like, humans are good at relating to each other. But bear in mind, there are also some humans out there that just want stuff for themselves and see you as a mark and a victim, and if fool and their money are soon parted and you're too rich for your own good. So, you know, maybe these people in these capacities, Suicide Prevention Lifeline, Samaritans, Mind.org, charity there, mind.org.uk, maybe these people have got no iron in the fire. They're not trying to rip you off. You know, they're just here for your support in a different capacity and context. You're a lost cause in America. Call the UK line instead. Yeah, overload them. Maybe consider, if anyone out there has ever used these services, has found any, you know, I shouldn't shill for them and donate to them, but it's a little PayPal button. I've used it before. It's very easy. I shook my head then. I'm lying. Oh, it's very easy. I don't find it very easy to do these things. But this is much more easy than any of the others. Look, you can change your amount very easy. You press the button, it takes you to your PayPal. And then for me, that's where it becomes more difficult, because it's like, put your password. Oh, I've already done my password. I've already opened it. And you start to get chugging around. But it is, honestly, it's very easy to make a donation to these people, to help them out, to help them, to help other people out. And of course, to me, I've got a tippies. So if you support, you know, if you think Snippy's has already done it for today, you don't have to worry. But if you're watching this, even if you're watching after the event on YouTube, you can still tippy me. It still goes through. I still see it, you chuffers. So yeah, I think we've done a good job today. I think we've opened the box. We've given the resources for help if you need help. We've given the resources for the ongoing investigation if that's what you want to do. I will be doing it, and you don't have to do it. I'll bring it to you through Mental Health Monday. If you want to read through this in advance, then maybe you can come into chat and argue with me. Tell me I'm wearing the wrong hat or something. I'll tell you what I'm going to get. I'll show you what I'm going to get. I do believe it's going to baffle people's minds, but, you know, if anything, if I had to be, you know, held down to anything, I'd say I'm Muslim. I'd say there's only one God. If there is a God, now this is just on Mental Health Monday now at the end of a conspiracy thing. If there is a God, there can only be one God, can't there? You can't have 10 gods all fighting it out. One of them is omnipotent, one of them is all being and all that, not the others. Just one. And that's the principle of Islam. It's the one God. And it's funny as well, because they believe in Jesus and Isha is a miracle working prophet and all this. Obviously, I'm not strict devout. I guess it's the same way as people that are Christians these days who say, I'm Christian, I've got a Bible in the house, but I don't go to church every Sunday. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not like chuffing, denying abortions. Do you know what I mean? I'm Christian, but I'm not a cunt. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm Muslim, but I'm not traditional Muslim. I've come to it through modern thinking, modern ideas, and spiritually I feel drawn to it. And so I'm quite happy to be subservient to that one God, and to, you know, if it doesn't work out in the end, if I die and it turns out not to be true, so what? But quite happy, like, if there is a all-powerful, you know, all-powerful God, I'm quite happy to admit that I'm subservient to it. So I don't know. Anyway, what I might get is one of these, what I'm saying is, you know, it's like saying I'm Jewish but I've not been circumcised. Like, I'm coming to this from the outside, looking in, and I find some interesting ideas in the Islamic religion, and I find a lot of peace and solace in it, you know, a lot of peace and solace in it. So you can argue if you want, but I might get one of those. So I get one of those, and then that way no one can take the piss. Because if he says, why are you wearing that funny hat, I'll say, oh, you're religious, insensitive religious. Thank you. If you get something from it, it's valuable. Yeah, exactly. In the same way as people read the Bible these days. I mean, Islam's a little bit more strict on certain things, but I also know that it says it in the Quran that it's to be between. This is another great beauty that I find in it, is that it's between you and God. It actually says it in the Quran. I can't find the exact thing now because I'm not that educated on it. But I've read the fucker in English translated, but I've read the fucker. And then it says it in the Quran that, like, basically, like, you are as equal as anyone else in the world with God. Like, you can't have a priest in the way. The priest is not more holy than you. You are a divine creation of God. You know, you're part of this world, this spirit. You're equal in that. And so your relationship with God is not to be controlled by, it says it in the fucking book, yeah, which is why in the You might get culturally a leader in the mosque. You might have a cultural leader, you know, someone who's manager of the place, or is the imam. The imam is usually the person who knows most about the religion. Is theoretically, the imam's supposed to be the one who can recite the Quran the most, the best, learned it all, can give you these deep philosophical conversations about whys and wherefores, the most knowledgeable about the religion, who can do the talking. That's what the imam's supposed to be there. But honestly, it's not that we've got a boss of the church, a head of this, and you go through them. It's supposed to be equal. Your relationship with God is between you and God. It's not between any man that tells you this. It's not between any man telling you the rules. It's not between, like, my culture in Saudi Arabia says women can't drive. If that was Muslim, if that was how it was to be a Muslim, how come I can see Muslims driving around in England? It's not about cultural differences and shit like that. It's about you read that book. That's the book of the word of God, apparently. I need to learn Arabic if I want to know it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. We're not going to get into that. That could be, you know, it's possible in a modern world with modern ideas that you might say that sounds a bit far-fetched. Some people believe in the words of the prophets, some people don't. I find it a little bit far-fetched, but I'm also willing to, in a way, suspend any doubts I have and just be open-minded in the same way as these conspiracy theories people are about a subject. And I found a lot of interesting things and good in it, you know, in the same way as I'm quite prepared to wear a dress and see what it's like. Yeah, I just quite prepared to have a go at Islam and see what that's like. I did the Ramadan. I'm learning the stuff through the books. I haven't gone to the mosque all the time. I don't need to. It says it in the fucking book. It says it's between you and God. So I'm not going to push that on anyone. I'm not going to make some claim that I am Islamic this, or like, I just have my relationship with God. If it's bullshit, it's bullshit. Yeah, you can science people are going to say, God, look at this idiot. After all this debunking of these conspiracy theorists, he believes in a God. Well, you know, fair enough. You don't have to. I do. It makes me feel something. Sometimes I get a lot of solace out of it. So I'm not doing it to make myself feel better. It's a deeper story than that. It goes real deep with me. It goes all the way back to primary school and childhood indoctrination with things like Jesus and Father Christmas, and it goes all the way round to like worst times in my life where I felt so low I've wanted to kill myself and burned my arm with cigarettes, and it comes around to positive forces in life and things that can help you through things and get you on in, you know, good messages of hope and love. Mainly love. It's mainly a love thing. So like, I find a lot of solace in that. Whatever. You don't have to, like, it might not even be true. I'm prepared to say it might not be. You know, there might not be a God. I'm prepared to say that. I'm prepared to say on all the evidence, on all the scientific evidence, it doesn't seem that likely. But there are some really interesting things in the Quran that are corroborated by science. Like the Quran actually, anyway, like, I'm not going to get into that debate. I find it interesting. And I think I've not finished that journey. I've not found the answer. I don't have to be a zealot. I can just, it's a bit like going to you know, when you go to the all-you-can-eat buffet, this is going to sound mental, but you know when you go to the all-you-can-eat buffet and there's lots of different food and you get a chance to try it, well, sometimes in life it's not an all-you-can-eat buffet, but I just ordered a different dish. I'll try something I haven't tried before, and if I like it, I didn't really enjoy lemons before, but now if you put lemon in this curry, I didn't know I was going to, that was really nice. I might do it at home now. You know, I take things from these, cultural appropriation. I take things from life. I'm open to ideas. So I found a lot of positive, because Islam was big on the news, remember? It was big on the news. We all had to think about Islam for a bit, didn't we? We all, you know, going back to 9/11, we all had to think about Islam for a bit. So I wanted to know, what is this religion? What is going on? What? And it came to me at a time in life where I was really struggling, and it really helped out in some ways. So whatever. I know that you are supposed to, in a way, I don't want to say preach, but invite other people along that path. And in a way, I kind of have, by not being preachy about it, I hope. You know, it's up to you if you want to read the Quran and see what it says, and you don't have to take it for anything. That's the whole point that I was going back to, is that it's you and God. It's you and God. It's your decisions. I'm not here to push you around on that front. So that's why that's one thing I got that was good out of that. Maybe I should wear a skull cap, an Islamic-based hat. Then they can't complain. I'm not allowed to wear this cap. Remember, it's not age appropriate. I have to wear something appropriate, age appropriate. So maybe I should choose this as my age appropriate headgear, because then look, there's an old man wearing one. Maybe that suit me better. Maybe that's more age appropriate. What's the old man hat? What's the most appropriate old man hat? With that one though, with the Muslim hat, they can't complain because they would be, you ban you out of chat for doing your anti-religious. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? That's that racism, isn't it? They can't be racist about my hat then. If I get myself a Muslim hat, they can't be racist about it. Don't you think? If I get myself a Muslim hat, they can't be racist about it. Or maybe it's me being racist by wearing it. Maybe I'm doing cultural appropriation racism. You've met some nice people who are Muslim. There you go. I will also tell you, there are some Muslims who are fucking awful. They blew up some things. Do you know what I mean? It goes both ways. There are some Muslims that lock their women in a shed. Like, that's a cultural thing, not a Muslim thing, though, I would guess. And I think in all walks of life, you get good and bad people. But I do think if you're drawn, I think differently to this. I mean, I suppose no. Hang on. What I was going to say was, in later life, if you're drawn to something like religion, it might show that you've got more ethics and care and concern because you're drawn to something that has more of that involved in it. That might play out. But it might also be that you think they're idiots who you can take for a ride and do your hocus pocus shenanigans on. So, maybe that's also that ballpark as well. Maybe people could say religion is like conspiracy theory, because it is like conspiracy theory in a way. There's a whole conversation to be had about that, isn't there? What's the old man hat? I think it'll be something a bit like a trilby or something like that. Old man hat, or a pork pie hat maybe. Yeah, look, that's it, isn't it? Tweed trilby. Tweed as well. Tweed trilby. That's what I need. Or a cap. But I could go... That's quite... Because that's even... Peaky Blinders is round my way. Small Heath. My football club's the Small Heath Alliance before they were called Birmingham. I could be a Peaky Blinder. I could go for tweed like that. My granddad used to wear a cap like this. My granddad used to wear that cap. Exactly that cap. So I could wear that. Maybe. Or it's the trilby, isn't it? Age appropriate. But if I wore a trilby, they're going to be on at me about that. That one's for me. That's the one for me. Grumpy old man. You see, I don't mind. I think I'm gonna, like a fine vintage, I'm gonna grumpy my old man all the way, aren't I? When I get to that age, and I'm not at that age fucking yet, mind. But when I get to that age, that's gonna suit me. Right, grump on about stuff, moaning about stuff, talking a load of chuff, smoking a pipe. That's my dream. That's fine for me. I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. I can live with that. That's a 10. Grumpy pipe. If only I could drink a pint of Guinness every day, just one, and handle it, and not need to drink 10, I'd be well in. Three. Say 3. Is 3? Is 3 all right? Do you think... This is a question I really do have. I know the answer is no. The answer is no. I'm not allowed to have a drink. I don't allow myself to have a drink because already I'm thinking 1 pint could be 3, but could be 5, could be 10. But do you think there's a way for me to go back to drinking where I just have, 1 Guinness, old man in the bar? Maybe there's something in that. Probably not. I'm better off just not trying, not experimenting, because I've experimented with alcohol and look where it left me. So I get really drunk and I can't. There's zero nutritional value in a drink. So there you go. I get really drunk and then I spend all my money and then I feel like compelled to even drink more. So that was never a good look for me. I'm glad I don't do that anymore. So yeah, old man in the pub, no whiskey, no rum, just the pipe and the attitude, thanks. Hat, pipe, attitude. Is that what they see in me? Is that what those people that were criticising me, that one person, Jade's sock puppet account, is that Jade's White Knight, is that what they see of me, do you think? It's that man, but with his cap on the wrong way round. That's who I am. I don't mind. I'd be the ancient mariner. I'd love that. I'd move to the seaside. If I ended up, when I end up, not if, when, hopefully. I might die before that. God willing, please don't kill me. But I might die before that. And but if I get to that, pipe, I am greying on the beard. If I get to that, pipe, cap, by the sea, that'd do me. I'd be alright with that. Probably have to have not a real pipe, but one of those, my huffer, a vaporizer pipe. A weed vaporizer, which you can't get in England properly. You can't get, they should put weed in that vaporizing stuff. And then that's me. Don't have to be killing myself with it anymore. I'm all right then. Sit by the sea. The sea, lovely. Even in stormy, I like storms. I like the bad weather. I watch the power of the sea and just be grumpy and sit there. That'll be me. That'll be me. The kids would love it. Won't they? The kids would love it. Do you want to go and see your granddad? Oh, do we have to? You get to see your nanny. Yeah, we like nanny, but old Granddad Scott just sits by the sea, talking a load of shit. When it all goes to shit, it won't be beautiful forever. Yeah, exactly. And old Father Time once again has passed us by. I said I was going to finish. I've done another 20 minutes, so you've had more than your lot today. We'll continue with Mental Health Monday next Monday. We've gone from. I'm actually going to carry on to say one more piece of Chuff, but it's interesting because I said I was concerned I don't know how to edit the previous episodes with the streamer suicide Dr. K and Recful. I think I might just upload them in full to Mental Health Monday, so they're there. But I think what's happening with Mental Health Monday is we've turned a little corner this year. You know how the stuff changes as we do it. We grow and we learn. So Mental Health Monday has got all those supportive videos. Yes, they're great. And I'm not dissing us for that. We want to redo some of them. We want to go back to the earliest one, like the introduction to mindfulness, and do it again now that we've got the better setup. Yeah, fine. But until we've covered every area, I'm not going to be happy. But we've got those little videos covering those little areas. They're good. But what we're starting to do now is a bit more in depth, isn't it? A bit more in depth, a bit more detail about conspiracy theories. We did a bit more in depth about streaming and mental health and talking about mental health online. And it hasn't made it to the channel yet because I don't know how to edit it because it's so more in depth. But maybe I just upload a big long one. All that Recful stuff put together in like a 6-hour episode. There you go, have that. It's not edited very well, but it's all there and it's in depth. So, what do you want me to do about it? I don't know. I feel like we're coming around to something a bit more meaningful though, aren't we? Not more meaningful. These are all meaningful videos. How to tell your judgmental family something difficult. That was a good hour. That's a meaningful video. Whether you should quit your job or not for your mental health. How to express yourself, homesickness. These are meaningful videos. And they are in depth, but they're only an hour and a half, 2 hours in depth. They're not 6 episodes in depth like we're going to do with this one. So I don't know. It's just a thing, isn't it? It's just happened. So we're going to have to get this content on there, and it's not going to end up being all edited, is it? Because it's just happening that we're going to be talking 6 episodes of conspiracies and mental health. I think at least 6. So look forward to that. That's coming. I've been good. You've been good. It's been nice to be here with you, Snips, and not to have obviously Capital K and Nigel and they're on YouTube as well, so I'm not saying this about other people and David, but there are a couple of people out there who are a little bit extra. They're a little bit more fruity. There's been a couple that I've really enjoyed talking to today, so I hope they're not listening to this and thinking they're all like that and he's writing us all off. But there was a couple that, even one that went as low as being personally mean to me. So it's been nice to be here on a much more chilled out vibe. So I'm not just going to bin Twitch off, I don't think, ever. I think Twitch needs to exist as our gaming and chills. But YouTube is started to take off in a different way, hasn't it? So yeah, I'll be on there again tomorrow, 2 p.m. GMT. Maybe I might reconsider if I have a panic or something happens in my life. I've got some setting up in this room to do as well. So play it by ear. But I now need to be more consistent on YouTube as well. I've been consistent on Twitch for certain aspects, but I now need to be more consistent on YouTube as well. Certainly if we're building that audience there, I need to be there. So I'm aiming to be there 2 p.m. tomorrow GMT. Some of them are wonderful, even though we disagree, exactly. And we're just seeing through this prism that it's not about that funny ideas they've got. It's about the fact that they're human beings, and through our love, compassion and support and seeing us be supportive, they will, they might not change their ideas, but they might not be nasty to us or other people. Anyway, my camera's gone. My camera's stopped. That's the universe. That's the magic of the universe telling me I should stop streaming. Or alternatively, it might just be that my batteries regularly run out after 2 hours. Okay, so you be good, my little pukas. You be good. And I will see you anon. It's supposed to be tomorrow, 2 p.m. GMT, ongoing into the week on YouTube. And it will be evenings for a bit of Genshin Impact on Twitch. I'll see you later. alligator in a while, crocodile. So you be good.